Superheroes are illegal.
We want to fight bad guys. It defines who I am.
We're not saying you have... What?
Someone on TV said it.
I was approached by this tycoon. Wants to talk about hero stuff.
Help me bring supers back into the sunlight. We need Elastigirl.
Bye, sweetie.
I'll watch the kids, no problem.
That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this
I don't
way.
know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math. Math is math. All over Dusseldorf. Doozles are dozing. Their eyelids so heavy, they're drooping. Closing!
I couldn't have done this if you hadn't taken over so well.
I've got to succeed so she can succeed. So we can succeed.
I get it, Bob. What the? That is freaky.
But I can't keep giving him cookies.
Oh! He's freaky!
No biting a daddy.
What?
Done properly, parenting is a heroic act. Done properly.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got some new Incredibles from the Olympics, and because Black Panther is out this weekend and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of Marvel-related stuff, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos, and make sure you click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss any of the videos, just because it is kind of crazy with all the Olympic stuff going on. And you can kind of see what they're doing here. They're flipping the script from the first film, and in the way that Syndrome was pretending to support superheroes, sending out Mr. Incredible on missions for like that first big chunk of the movie before you found out what was really going on and the entire family got in on the action, they're probably doing the same thing with Elastigirl, but obviously it's a new villain, and like they show you a little bit more about Jack-Jack's powers, and Edna has that line at the end where she says, "Parenting is a heroic act." It sounds like Jack-Jack will be a much bigger part of them beating the villain. Like, Mr. Incredible has to be a good dad to help Jack-Jack be the hero that he can be, albeit with a lot of comedy thrown in, and the rest of the family too. You only get a little bit of the other kids, like they had that new math joke. Raise your hand if you're actually old enough to remember new math. Now, like, I'm not that old, but they did make jokes about it when I was in school. Like, my math teacher actually explained, way back in the 50s and 60s, there was this new method of doing math that they tried to introduce to United States schools that just got completely trashed. They threw it out. So after the 1960s, you never heard about it again. Like, everybody thought that it was ridiculous, which is why Mr. Incredible is like banging his fists on the table. Math is math. Why would they change math? Which is basically him speaking for the entire nation that had to sit through that whole ordeal. They have John Ratzenberger back as the Underminer for that first little bit of the film. The fact that they're still learning about Jack-Jack's powers sort of explains why they wanted to pick up immediately after the first film ended. It's been so long since that first movie came out that people are probably scratching their heads a little bit trying to remember. So I would recommend rewatching that movie if you haven't seen it recently before you go see the second movie. So they defeat him, and then they go back to their lives. And here's where we get into the villain of things, because it's a very familiar twist that they're probably going to flip on its head from the first film, with Syndrome pretending to support superheroes. So you probably detected Bob Odenkirk's voice. He's playing a character called Winston Dever. He's like this evil Elon Musk tech billionaire that really wants to bring superheroes back. But in the way that really rich, weird people are evil in a lot of these films, he probably just wants to find a way to profit off of them. So this is probably all a front for something else that's going on. But remember how Mr. Incredible was slowly suffocating to death behind a desk during the first film? The same thing kind of happens to Elastigirl. Like, she is so excited that people want her to go be a superhero, so she's like, all right, great. So she just completely drinks the Kool-Aid. So it'll be interesting to see if the same thing happens to her, where it takes her a little while to figure out that someone is really playing her for the fool. Like, it took Mr. Incredible a little while in the movie to figure out that Buddy was really Syndrome. So I think that they're going to speed that along. I don't think they're going to do the exact same thing that they did during the first film. But you find that there are a couple of characters that are just obsessed with superheroes. And the whole idea is that obsession usually leads to bad things happening. Here's where it gets a little more complicated, though. We found out that Catherine Keener is actually playing the sister of this Winston character that Bob Odenkirk is playing, and she's just described as a tech-happy problem solver and evidently the real brains behind the Devers' successful company. So, big surprise, she actually might wind up being the true villain of the film. If she's the real brains of this billionaire empire and he's just the face of it, They may have flipped that script from the first film where you have a shadow figure manipulating the public face that everybody's actually interacting with for most of the film. Because just reading the description of her character makes her sound like an evil version of Edna Mode. They also added another character called Void, played by Sophia Bush, that's obsessed with Elastigirl, but they didn't say whether or not she's going to be an evil character. So her character might wind up being a version of Buddy for Elastigirl. And then obviously Frozone is a much bigger part of the plot. Like, oh, I got this company, they want to work with superheroes, we're getting back in the game. Where's my super suit, honey? There is another character that we don't see in the trailer played by Isabella Rossellini, and she's just described as a foreign dignitary known only as the Ambassador that's all about the legal return of supers. So she might also be on Team Villain. It just sounds like there are a couple of mysterious things going on here where you have this tech billionaire empire that's secretly run by Catherine Keener's character, then a mysterious foreign dignitary that just suddenly wants superheroes everywhere. So it just sounds like some James Bond Spectre level stuff is going on here. But looking at his character model here, he has these really vacant looking eyes. He just might be the face of it with people pulling the strings behind him. The actual movie isn't out till June 15th, so they'll be releasing a whole bunch more trailers. We'll see more of the characters, but let me know what you think of this so far. Obviously, most of what you see in this is probably only the first part of the film. Like, usually what happens is that one of the characters drinks the Kool-Aid. This time, it's Elastigirl going out being a superhero. She probably finds out what's really going on. Then the whole family gets in on the action, with the addition of Jack, who they're still using mostly for comedy. He has pretty much every power that you could imagine, but I think the whole idea is that they're trying to say that Mr. Incredible needs to be an awesome dad because his kids have crazy awesome superpowers, so the more well-adjusted they are, the better they work together, the quicker they're able to put the beat down on all the villains. Like, that was kind of a subplot in the first film where the kids needed to believe in themselves in order to fully activate their powers.
How are you doing that? I don't know. Whatever you do, don't stop.
In related superhero news, because Black Panther is out pretty much everywhere around the world, I'll start doing my post-credit scene videos tonight, my spoilery review will post tomorrow, and then obviously a whole bunch of Avengers Infinity War. We'll talk about how the end of Black Panther and the stuff that they do in that movie will affect the larger Marvel universe. So just post all your questions that you want me to include in those videos in the comments below. But while you wait for everything, click here to learn about Thor's new weapon during Infinity War, and click here to learn all about Spider-Man's new armor. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay incredible. I will see you guys tonight.